everyone, how are you doing? It's me, Angela, and here on a Friday to bring you another little video project. How are you doing? Right, we are back working on my Rustic Reflections journal. If you missed my last video on Tuesday, I shared my brand new Christmas for 2025 Rustic Christmas, which I love and so many of you love too. Thank you so much for those amazing compliments and comments. You guys are just so good to me. I'm so grateful, and I just wanted to say that. So if you're wanting to see what that's all about, you can find all the details for that in that Tuesday video. And if you're interested in taking a closer look, it is available on my website shop, angelakerrdesigns.com. Links are all in the description box below that video. All right. But today we're back to this lovely one, and it's almost coming to an end. So I want to show you what I've made today so that we can make one together and put it into this journal. So this is the writing journal we're making, Rustic Reflections, as you guys know. And I have a full playlist on everything I've put together for this if you want to follow along. All right, so today I've gone to close to the back of this first signature here. All right, so there's a tea stain page there that was a shorter page, and I've made a faux envelope here. All right, really easy. I've put on here, what would I say to my 16-year-old self? I did that as an English teacher. I used to get my students to write a letter to their 40-year-old self, but I thought, as you know, we are much older than that, it would be interesting to see what we would like to say to our 16-year-old self, because I really have a lot to say to my 16-year-old self, and that would fit nicely in that little envelope, wouldn't it? So there you go. All right, I've stenciled here with a stencil that looks a bit like a bark from a tree. So that's what one I found in my drawer. I've never used it before. Just put on some stenciling there, some layering, which is from the Fussy Cuts and that. And then on the other side, we've got this page here. This is from the mini pages. We're going to use the other half of it in this project for the other signature. I've just stuck on a fussy cut there, and then put another important prompt. 5 things I love about myself. I think we say we can be quite hard on ourselves. We say a lot of negative things when things don't go right, but I think all the prompts in here are really about positivity, and I'm hoping that you could write a nice page here about 5 things you love about yourself, because self-love is the start to everything, really. It's my thoughts there, getting a bit deep. Right, and then I've just put a tag in. I've made that a pocket, and I've put in a large tag in the back there. All right, so that's what we're going to do, and I really like how that's turned out. Okay, so we are going to go to our other signature at the back here. And this is more of the greens and things, just lining up my pages. They are loose, but I've got this tea stain page here, which is how the other one also looks. I have added some stenciling on here in the crushed olive color there and there. All right, so that's prepped. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put that to the side and start on what we're going to do. Now, it's really easy. I've got a piece of paper here, just printed on one side. I think when I was putting this through the printer, it ended mid-flight, so I've just used it. All right, so really this is half a sheet of paper that way. All right, so 2 of these would make a sheet. And then I've just cut it in half. And then I have measured 5 inches from the one side down. Okay, that's 12.5 centimeters there or thereabouts. Okay, so you just want to fold it along that line there like that. Okay, and then we're going to take this edge and match it to that bit, that fold line there. Okay, so don't go over it, do it just right of the fold line and fold that there. Okay, and while we are at it, we will just take our glue and stick that down. I've got both of my dogs lying in separate beds around my feet. I'm hoping everybody's having an afternoon nap, so I'm hoping that's going to carry on. And they have been fighting a lot, you know, play fighting, but I nearly said Paige. Abby gets very barky and loud and annoying. So, you know, it's just like children, isn't it? They both have all the same kind of things, balls and toys that even are the same, but they want what the other one wants. The pain is real, guys. I feel like my children are youngsters again. Right, I've just used my corner cutter there. We're making, this is the flat bit. All right. I did sew the other one. I will sew this one, but it's not a necessity. That is going to work perfectly fine as it is. But I just like the aesthetic of a stitched item, but that's my personal choice. I think what we'll do is we'll put on another little piece as well. I want to cover that up. Now you can stencil it, but I'm going to use a piece of paper. So what we want to do here is we want to have a piece for the front. Okay, so that's the width of this, and I've got a little bit more than I need, which is because I'm going to stick a little bit on here. So I'm gauging this about 1 inch down, 2.5 centimeters down. This whole piece, sorry I didn't tell you that, measures just over 5 inches, 5.25 inches, but I want to just cut off 1 inch first of all. Okay, so it doesn't really, you don't need to know about the 5.5 inches at this point, just the width of the page. And I'm going about 1 inch. I'm going to just go onto the inch line, yeah, 1.25 inches really, and I want to just cut that bit off. Okay, so we'll just do a little bit of inking like that. And we'll stick that onto here as well. Okay, so we're not going to have it going into that fold line, so just be mindful of that. So we'll get that in there and there. I just want to turn that around so I can see it's not going to go into that fold line. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. And then I'll just take this and go into that crevice. You can also turn it round and do that, but you do want to make sure that that's all glued. All right, so there's your little flappy bit. Now I've got that like that. I think I measured this 4 inches, so yeah, 4 inches. You can do longer, 4.5 if you want. But I've got the other side of this piece of paper and I use the other half for the other one. So you don't want to go too much wider than this. All right, so I'm going to go 4.5. And then I'll just, I'm not going to actually cut it off. I'll show you what I'm going to do. You can cut it off. Nothing wrong with that. I'm going to just use this as like a little lip. Okay, and then we can see here this is going to go up there, and I'm happy with that. Let's see how much. Oh, we do have a bit of play there, you can see. So I'm going to just fold this, score this just half an inch, sorry, so just over 1 centimeter, guys, like that. And again, I'm not cutting it off. All right. That's just going to reinforce the edge. That's why I'm not cutting it off. But you can if you prefer to. It just gives it strength, but it can also give thickness. So it's a trade-off, isn't it? Okay, so you've got that bit there. We can just put a little bit of ink on there. All right, and I'm going to stick it onto that flap like that, just checking that I've got this the right bit. So now that'll fold down and then you don't have any white. But as I said, you could just stencil it. So let's just get some. I'm doing very little glue because I'm going to stitch around this, but you do not have to stitch. You can put more glue on. All right. I'm just putting a bit on just to keep it in place. Right, now while we've got it, now it doesn't have to be exactly right. What you do need though is that these heights are the same. Okay, so that's slightly over. So I'm going to tap them together like that. And then I'm just going to use this pencil just to draw a line so I know how much to trim off. Yeah, that's fine. So I'm going, you can notch it if you want for a pocket, but we won't. I'm not going to do it, but you could do, of course. Okay, so we've got that there. And then I wanted to stick on a flower, did I? Yeah, I had a flower on the other one. So I'm going to, for this one, I'm going to stick on that sentiment there. This one doesn't really need a flower, but have I got a smaller flower that's a bit shorter? Let's see. Yeah, let's put that one on. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, so I do love these flowers. My daughter's moving into her little flat this weekend, so very excited for her. Getting my house back to myself. It's always a good feeling, ladies. I don't know if any of you have ever lived on your own, but it's liberating. It sure is, as much as I love my kids. But there we go. What does my ideal life look like? Oh yeah, that's a good one. Manifest those dreams, doesn't matter how old you are. Right. Let's get that up there. Just move it over. There we go. So we've got that pocket ready to go. Here is my tag that I've done. All right, and then this little goodie, we're going to put some goodies on here. Right, so I have got a couple of bits. I'm going to say, how have I grown this year? It's always good to look back. We're always hard on ourselves when we tackle things, but we never go back and look how much progress we've actually made. It's another important one to remember, I think. So yeah, let's get some glue on that one. I'll stick it just there. And then, do I want this leaf or do I want one of these others? Just not sure about the color. No, that one's fine. I'm going to go with that. So we're going to just put on a couple of bits like this, I think. Yeah, just layering them up here. Okie dokie, so we've got all of that done. I'm going to just go and stitch around the edge there, and I will be back here with you. Okay, so there we have it. As I said, it's not a must, but I just like the way it looks. So we've got a little pocket there, and it's nicely lined, all looking good. Let's just cut off those little feathers. There we go. All right, and now we just want to move over our journal page, and I'm not even going to take it out. So you want your pencil. What I am going to do is just line up these pages just to help me here. All right, so we've got those there, and I want to get that. Here's the fold line just there. Okay, and I'm going to get this on the page like that. I'm gauging it here to see that it's straight. Move it slightly down for the tag. Okay, I think that's about right. I'm going to just, yeah, that looks about straight. I'm going to use my pencil here and here, just so that I know when I've got the glue on, that's where it needs to go. And I'm going to take my Fabri-Tac because it's quicker. Oh, put it back on there, put it back on your spot, like that. And lift it up with a page, just so that you know I'm drawing a line there, just so I know the glue mustn't extend beyond there. And so I'll just get it over the rest of the page. Okay, just press that down. There we go. That looks cute, doesn't it? Get that over there. And then we're going to just take our little pocket, hold it on the side you don't want the glue on, and then just get that glue on 3 sides. Right, so we'll get that onto the edge there and there of that pocket below, and then we'll just press it down over there like that. Okie doke. So this little tag will go into this bit here. There we go. And there we have it. How sweet is that? Yeah? And that's it. We've got one in there and one in the other side. And I really like how that's turned out. This one, just looking where this... I've got to just pull that out a little bit more. There we go. Right, everyone, have a fantastic weekend. I will be back on Tuesday. Don't forget to check out the Christmas kit if you haven't seen it yet. I'd love to have you follow along with me. We're going to make a really rustic handmade Christmas. And this was one of the projects that I was decorating, which actually comes in your ultimate bundle. So how cute is that? Nice and handmade and rustic. Okay, guys, take good care of yourselves. Thank you so much for watching. Have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you all again on Tuesday. Stay well. Bye-bye.